Panic-stricken screams and dense smoke fill the air of Peterborough, a small town in the marshy terrain of eastern England. An abbey once standing proud and mighty above burns amidst the dancing, spitting flames. For the citizens here, doomsday is surely upon them. Thieves, bandits and rebels strip the archaic building of its precious treasures with haste. Yet in spite of the carnage, no townsfolk lay dead at their feet nor cut down by their swords. For these pillagers, their motif is not self-serving but rather an act of valour and a sense of revolt against tyranny. The bountiful loot would otherwise lie as bait for another ruthless army. Fast approaching to the town ride the Normans, eager to crush the rebellion with as much ferocity as had been done to the people of the north in the Great Harrying. As William the Conqueror approaches Peterborough, the rebels flee deep into the fenland marshes. What they leave behind is a charred and destroyed city. By now, murmurs of a hero from within the rebellion begin to swirl across the land. The one named as Hereward the Wake feeds the Saxons' desire for hope. He, along with allies from Denmark, make haste towards the Isle of Ely, a place of fortitude long withstanding the Norman might and a base of operations previously hosting the rebel armies. There they barricade the monastery and borrow the precious Saxon treasures acquired from Peterborough. Stood in the presence of King Svein II of Denmark, messengers bring word from William that should his soldiers retreat back to Scandinavia under promises of riches, that no violence will befall them. The king debates the impressive offer but quickly falters on its merits. Unlike their movements before the Great Northern Massacre, this time the Danes remain alongside their Saxon allies and firmly with the resistance. And now in the year 1071, William readies his men for another punishing fight against many who see him as nothing but a brutalist and oppressor. With his gaze firmly fixed on the Isle of Ely, he orders a great assortment of timber and rope with immediate urgency. His plan is to breach the foul swamps of the fenland and take the fight straight to the heart of the rebellion. Meanwhile in Ely, Hereward leading the Danish and Saxon resistance plot their next move. In spite of their isolated situation, recruits recently arriving from Northumberland under nobleman Earl Morcar swell the rebellion ranks. The three main causeways of Aldreth, Stutney and Erith leading into the Isle of Ely are blocked by Norman forces who by now have begun constructing their pontoons. Hard days of labour see the Normans toiling their strength into the constructing of bridges to cross the marsh, and hour by hour they edge ever closer. The rebels watch on and ready their forces for a bloodied battle. What is to follow, however, is both a relief and a hand of luck as the buckling beams of the timber bridge collapse into the marshes, sending many of William's men to a watery grave. Upon the building of a second causeway, Hereward leads a detachment quietly into the marshes under the cover of darkness and sets alight the wooden frames. The small flames in time swell to an inferno, engulfing many a Norman knight. The ones who survive are ambushed and brutally cut down by rebel axes or under a hail of arrows. The Conqueror, now receiving news of two failures ending in slaughter, consumed by rage, looks to alternative ways to make the crossing. Under the promise of golden spoils, treacherous monks based in Ely assist the Norman army through the marshes, gifting them safe passage onto the Isle. With the rebels unable to flee, William launches his assault on the stronghold, and so ensues a great battle. Vicious skirmishes erupt across the Isle between Normans and Danish Saxon rebels, and soon follow the fires and destruction. Men under William's banner arduously battle Hereward's rebels, in which many on both sides fall to the steel of swords and the crushing blows of clubs and hammers. Groups of Normans fight their way to the doors of the monastery and attempt to break through to the treasure, yet they are briskly greeted by the bludgeoning strikes of Danish axes. Only later will their fortune turn. The rebels for a time maintain a strong fight but are soon overcome by William's larger force. The Isle, now breached on all sides, sees the gradual withering of rebel spirit, and Ely, hitherto a last remnant of Saxon resistance, falls to the Normans. The invading force slowly but surely occupy all parts of Ely, and the remaining rebels surrender their arms, flee into the marshes, or are slain by the sword. The monastery is plundered of the Peterborough treasures, and Morcar, Earl of Northumbria, is brought as a prisoner before the king. As for Hereward, it appears he will evade the grasp of the Norman hand and disappear into the marshes. What fate will become of him is left unknown. Despite Ely's fall to William, the noble fight of Hereward and the Danes serves still to inspire more revolutions across the country. Just as the people had done in the north before the harrying, Anglo-Saxons and Danish alike continued to resist the Normans for many years to come. Some of these events we shall explore in future videos. If you enjoyed this topic, be sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a like and keep an eye out for similar content. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.